Why has BYU not gotten a deal done? We reported over a month ago now, and it's been about 3.5 weeks, I guess I should say, so not over a month ago. 3.5 weeks ago, we reported that BYU and Kalani Sitake were engaged in talks to alter his contract, not extend. They wanted to alter his contract so that he had more security for his assistants and that BYU could get him off the coaching carousel. And that the holdup was the buyout language. If Kalani Sitake decided he wanted to leave or BYU wanted him to leave. And shockingly enough, it sounds like, based on what Tom Holmoe said yesterday, Jake, we nailed it.
Yeah, I agree
We are
completely.
in conversations with Kalani at this point in time, and he's our coach. We want him for a long time, and good things are going to happen in the near future.
Can't say more succinctly than that. They want him there. They're trying to get it done. Like I think the problem is that there's a difference between trying to get it done and it actually being done. So
Yes.
until it's actually done, we get to hear about, well, Kalani's going to go to SC or Kalani's going to go to Oregon or Kalani's going to go here or there or otherwise. And I get that for BYU fans, this is probably a tired conversation, but I think that Kalani is coveted. I mean, Kalani has shown his value. He's shown his worth. He's proven himself time and time again. And I just think that if you're BYU, you can't allow Kalani to stay in this situation. It is not his fault that he's coveted. He's done a good job. So I just think if you're BYU, the sooner you get this done, the better. And frankly, every day that goes by, and they're not done, should be concerning if you're a BYU fan. I mean, you have a lot in front of you. I mean, think about it. We're not in a situation where this program is just going to continue to be an independent. Those times are gone. So it's not just like, the same thing next year and the year after and the year after that. You're heading into the Big 12. You've had several good seasons now. You're building. You're climbing the national ranks and perspective. You're getting more respect out of the committee, even though this year it didn't work out for you. So my point is there's a lot on the line for BYU. And I just think they need to be as aggressive as possible with this and get it done, because once it's done, now we can kind of slingshot forward and start talking about recruiting and NIL deals and all this good stuff. But until that's finished, I'm just telling you guys, they can't move forward yet.
Well, and I think, again, the reason this is not done already is because I think Kalani Sitake is not necessarily looking for, a new deal that secures himself. I think there's a lot more at play than just Kalani Sitake staying at BYU. And I think one of the things that's so interesting is the appeal of BYU versus a big job like Oregon, because Oregon, by any measure, is a big job. And if you look at, what Utah did this year, one of the reasons it was so significant is they went through Oregon to get there, right? The Utah Utes are going to the Rose Bowl, and deservedly so, because they beat Oregon twice. And that tells you kind of the measure and the level that Oregon has achieved. This was a college football playoff team until they came to Sac Lake City and got blown out.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, Oregon's always relevant. Oregon's always one of the top teams in the Pac-12. Oregon's got money, uniforms, NIL. They've got everything that you want. Boosters, obviously, with Nike Nike.
Thanks, Nike.
Oregon's got everything that you want. Seemingly, Oregon would be a better job than BYU would be a better job, right? I mean, to me, Oregon seems like the better job.
Yeah.
But if you're Kalani Sitake, your heart is very clearly in Provo. Kalani left, went to Oregon State, didn't love it, came back. Very clearly, your heart is in Provo. So the value of what's a good job versus what's a better job versus the job you have now, that's a different conversation when it comes to Kalani Sitake, because his priorities are different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think BYU knows that. I think BYU has an advantage in that they know that Kalani doesn't want to leave. There's not a whole lot of incentive for Kalani to walk out the door right now and go to Oregon or go to SC or go to all these other jobs that he was asked to interview for. There's not a whole lot of incentive for him to do that. So my whole point is, I think BYU knows they're not going to lose Kalani Sitake, but it seems a little sus, if you will.
Yeah.
it seems interesting that there's no hurry to get this done. And I think the reason that there's no hurry to get this extension done, as it was explained to me anyway, both sides agree, hey, I want to be here. You want me here. We need to work out, a deal that gets me out of every conversation for every open job. But we also need to take care of my priorities, which include my staff and, our ability to run the program the way we want to run it. So I just think that he's not going anywhere, and I think BYU knows that.
Yeah, and hey, if they're on the same page, then that's great. I mean, if they're on the same page and they're in the situation that you just described, that's perfectly fine. But I just don't. Again, I always maintain I don't want BYU to find themselves in a place where you're headed into the Big 12. You've got all this great stuff happening, and then all of a sudden tomorrow, randomly out of the blue, we get the bombshell from Bleacher Report that Kalani is signing with Oregon. You can't. Like, that can't happen if you're BYU. And so if they're on the same page, great. But I just think that this program and Kalani and what they've built it's been too long of a road. They've done too much for him to leave. And that's why I agree with you. I do think his priorities lie with BYU. I do think that he wants to stay. It's just going to be a matter of working out the paperwork. And the reason we bring up the Gordon Hayward situation all those years ago is because this is the same kind of thing. It was pretty much assumed that Gordon was going to re-sign with the Jazz. You let him go and have a conversation with Boston, and all of a sudden he's writing you a poem that gets leaked.
Well, no. Truth be told, you let him go have a conversation, several years prior with San Antonio.
Yeah.
And that conversation is what bolstered his belief that there was value for him in the market. And I think that's when you wind up losing guys. I don't believe for a minute that Kalani Sitake is going to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't think he's heartbroken that the rumor's out there. And I think that this will get done and taken care of. It's just a matter of when. And Kalani has told people that he really wasn't that interested in interviewing until the season was over. And that included the bowl game. So it's not particularly surprising that he hasn't interviewed for a ton of jobs. There was a lot of belief that Washington came to Provo to interview Kalani. I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. And frankly, it doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is that Kalani Sitake remains the head coach of the BYU Cougars because he's the right guy.
Yeah.
It is very difficult in, the atmosphere and the requirements and the prerequisites to be a head coach at BYU, specifically for basketball and football. Where are you going to find another LDS man that can do what Kalani Sitake's done? That's very difficult. Where are you going to find a guy that is in the church, has a temple recommend, and can lead you to a 10-win season and put you in the conversation for a New Year's Six Bowl? Back-to-back years. Where are you going to find that? It's very difficult.
Yeah.
And that's why I say there's a lot of value in Kalani Sitake. Both sides know that.
Yeah.
So it was not surprising to me anyways to hear Tom Holmoe yesterday talking about, that, hey, we're working on it. We're, both sides we're talking to Kalani. We're trying to get something done. That to me is not surprising.
Yeah.
Mainly because we reported it 3.5 weeks ago, but also because I think both sides like each other.
Well, and I think clearly, Tom is trying to get some publicity out there that, that they are actively engaged in figuring it out. And I think that's the thing you got to remember too, is like controlling the news cycle on these things is so important. Controlling what is out there in the media is very important. I think it's kind of like what you were just saying about Kalani. Is he heartbroken that his name is on the rumor mill for all these open positions? Well, no, of course not. I mean, it's a tip of the cap to him. It only helps him provide for his family, right? At the end of the day, that's why you would like that. If you're Tom Holmoe, you're trying to make sure that people know you and Kalani have full intentions of re-signing together. You're trying to make sure that this doesn't get out of hand, that there's never a news story that comes out that says that Kalani's disgruntled or unhappy. Like we all know how quickly it moves. That's my point. You just don't want this thing to get out of control. So hopefully we wake up at the end of the month, it's all done, everything's good to go, and we don't have to talk about this anymore. But for now, this is where we are.
And I not to be redundant, but is Oregon a good job? Like it is. Now you know all the details on why Mario Cristobal chose to leave Oregon. he's an alumni at Miami, but you also know that Miami has now agreed to invest a significant amount of money back into the football program, which they had stopped doing. The Miami Hurricanes essentially had said, hey, boosters and alumni are going to fund our program. And if they don't, they don't. Then the program's not going to get funding. Well, now what Miami has said is, okay, we have alumni and donors, and we're going to put a bunch of money back in because they have new revenue streams, et cetera, et cetera. Your mom.
Yeah.
You understand that they hired Clemson's athletic director to come down to Miami. Okay, it's a little more appealing than it used to be. You have a recruiting base in your backyard of unbelievable track stars. Okay, Mario, knock yourself out. You weren't a great coach at Oregon anyway, right?
Yeah.
But USC is unquestionably a good job.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's...
Yeah, I think what I would say is USC is unquestionably a power brand in college football, even when they suck. It's SC. Like, you're never getting away or around or over the fact that USC just is. And I don't know how to explain the fact that it is, but it just is. SC is SC, and that's never going to change. Now,
Right,
Oregon...
Yes, correct.
Oregon, to me, I mean, Oregon is a good job. Is it one of the best jobs in the country? No. Is it a good job? Yeah. For Kalani Sitake, is it a good job? No, it's not, because you're not really like, because when head coaches look at positions, they're looking at it from a selfish perspective. So, okay, if I'm going to leave BYU, what is the opportunity presented to me at Oregon? Okay, well, great. I'm in a P5 conference. I've got all the Nike money. We've got all that good stuff. Oregon has some history with the college football playoff and doing some things, so that helps.
Put guys in the NFL. Good
But he's
recruiting
already
base.
doing that.
Yeah.
He's already doing that,
Well,
right? You know what I mean?
But is he though?
Yeah.
I think it's slow and incremental that more and more BYU guys are getting into the NFL. There's no doubt. Obviously, watching Danny Sorensen run a touchdown back, or Zach Wilson with the Jets, and okay, yeah, it's getting better.
Yeah.
Oregon, there's no doubt about it. Kayvon Thibodeau, who announced he's coming out from Oregon, and is going to skip the bowl game, he's going to be the #1 pick in the draft. I mean, it's not uncommon for Oregon to put guys in the NFL. And again, when it comes to good jobs, I think BYU is never going to be known as a great job just because of the honor code and the church affiliation.
There's extra baggage.
There is. But to me, when I look at what's a good job and what's not, USC's a good job. Oregon's a dumpster fire. Oregon is always a problem. Oregon is always Chip Kelly recruiting scandals. Oregon is always Mario Cristobal can't win big games.
See, that to me is the difference. Oregon is known for not winning big games. That's what they're known for. And I think, like, the recruiting scandal stuff, obviously we can't say that about Oregon and not say it about SC. Obviously, like, SC's had its fair share. They've gone through their thing. Okay, great. But I just think that there's no way to really define why or how other than to just say it's Southern California. It's Hollywood. It's everything you want it to be.
I can define it for you.
Like, it's just what it is.
USC, when USC is even mediocre, they're ranked higher than most other people.
Which I don't understand.
Right? Well, because they're a brand, and when they're on TV and they're the 13th ranked USC Trojans, that's a game people are going to watch. Even if you're not an SC fan and you see SC on TV, you're not necessarily going to watch Stanford. You're not going to watch Cal. You're not going to watch Oregon State.
But what is it? What I'm struggling to figure out with SC, and the difference here between our perspectives is that I didn't watch USC in their heyday, right, with Pete Carroll and Reggie and when all that was going down. So you have that appreciation for what they were back in that time. But what I'm saying is that they haven't been that good since then. They haven't been anything.
Well,
since
their
then.
program got gutted.
Right.
I mean, obviously, they essentially got the death penalty without getting it.
Yeah.
And you know what? They've had poor management. And now, with Mike Bone there, all of that has changed. And now you would expect when you hire a guy like Lincoln Riley, I mean, you expect to win a national championship. Hard stop.
Quickly.
That's it.
Quickly. And to your credit, you did say, hey, if they can go and get. We did specifically. I remember we specifically mentioned Lincoln Riley.
This is what I always say.
Yeah.
If you're Oregon, can you call Lincoln Riley's agent and say, "Hey, we'd like to talk to Lincoln Riley"?
Yeah, you can call, but he ain't answering.
Right?
I can tell you that.
if you're USC and you call Lincoln Riley, his agent, and say, we'd like him to be the next coach at USC, he's absolutely answering the phone.
Well, remember, let's not forget. I mean, what did Lincoln himself say about how it all went down? I mean, Lincoln Riley claims that this was not a long process, that they
2
called
days.
him, and then the next day it was basically, done, if you will. There was just paperwork and formalities.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
I don't think there's any doubt that when you look at USC, they're in a different class than just about anybody else. I look at Oregon. Oregon has clear access to the college football playoff. Oregon has a great uniform partnership and, donor base with Nike. I have to say Nike. With Phil Knight and Nike, obviously. I think Oregon's a good, not a great job. I look at Utah. Compare Utah to Oregon.
Branding wise, Oregon and SC are both ahead
Oregon's
of Utah.
a better job.
Yeah.
And here's why. Because kids don't want to come to the mountains. When you're a kid that grew up in LA or Miami, are you really going to come to the mountains and play football? That's a tough sell, which is why Kyle Whittingham's so remarkable.
Yeah.
Because he gets kids to do it all the time. The issue becomes that it's a project to recruit to Utah.
Yeah.
It's a project to recruit to BYU. It's not a project to recruit to Eugene, Oregon. Not when you can say, hey, you're going to have the freshest, hottest Nikes. You're going to have the best uniforms, the best Jordans.
You're going to be on national TV.
What do kids care
consistently.
about? Kids care about their parents watching them on TV. They care about their drip. So the uniforms, the shoes, the outfit, all of it.
Yep.
The money, the NIL, they care about making money in college. You're doing that at Oregon. Are you making NIL money at Utah? Not right now, you're not.
Which is beyond me.
So I think Oregon's is a good, not a great job. I think when you look at LSU, is LSU really a great job? I don't think it is.
I wouldn't say it's a great job. I feel like LSU is the Oregon of the SEC. It's a good job. You can win a national championship at LSU, no doubt. But it's not as good of a job as, whatever other great job you want to point to,
Yeah, and so I bring this up to say that I understand why Kalani Sitake doesn't want to leave BYU. He's the perfect guy there.
And I think he's a different kind of guy, to your point. Like, Kalani's not like Lincoln Riley. Kalani's not like, all these other dudes who are not LDS and not about, everything that comes with the BYU package. So that's why I just think it does make me nervous. I have some anxiety about the fact that they're not done with it, but I also know, just like you were just saying 5 minutes ago, that they're on the same page and they're working it out. So,
Yeah, and I'm not worried about Kalani leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think when I look at where Kalani is, he's the king of Utah right now.
For real.
Now, by the way, I would also point out, for all the BYU fans that are looking past UAB, I had probably 5 tweets. Well, they quit football. You don't know the UAB story if you're simply stopping at, well, UAB quit football. If you don't know the story of UAB and why they didn't wind up quitting football, friends, UAB is capable of beating BYU. And there are so many people that are assuming that BYU is going to run through UAB. I might slow my roll on that. I might win first and then talk about how badly you got screwed. Because if you go to the Independence Bowl and you lose to UAB, it's not a great look.
No.
And by the way, if Utah goes to the Rose Bowl and wins, Kyle Whittingham's back as the king of Utah. And, I'd almost say if Utah wins the Rose Bowl, that's going to be an awfully difficult sell for BYU in recruiting.
Yeah, I don't know what leg do you have to stand on? Yeah. That's why I say the Big 12 dynamic is hugely important right now. The Kalani's relationship to the Big 12 situation is huge. I can't say enough how important it is to get it done so that when you go to the Big 12, your program is hitting the ground running.
Nothing to talk about. By the way, it's going to be 5 to 7 years of a curve.
And that's my point. With Kalani, it's 5 to 7 years. Again, not that I'm trying to say he's leaving, but hypothetically, let's say that did happen. Can you imagine how much worse that transition would be? Like how much more challenging that would be for you as a program? That's why I'm saying it's so important to get it done.
Nah, I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Get it done. James Knight, morning to you. James, stick around. We've got some NBA for you here in about 5 minutes. Giggity says, morning, fellas. What's up, Giggity? Greg Hawkins says, what's up? What's up, Hawk? BYU needs to increase the assistant pool budget, give Kalani a sizable raise, and become NIL University in order to keep Kalani. Get Ryan Smith or something to help out. Well, I don't think it's an issue. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Brett Allen says BYU dragging their feet, and it's irritating. It's got to be tough not knowing your new conference payouts are going to look like. That makes it tough to budget for your coaching staff. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But you can't tell me they don't have money, dude. I'm not going to sit here and feel like
He's already well paid.
well, that might be true, but the fact is he's doing something in your program that you've never done in recent times.
Yeah.
You've got. I mean, what? Some of us weren't even alive the last time they won a national championship. I mean, what are we talking about? Like, yeah, sure, he might be well paid now. Pay the guy more. Like, I pay him.
I would just say pay his assistants more, give them more job stability.
Do what needs to be done.
Yeah, whatever it is that's holding you up, and I'm told that it's buyout language.
What does that even mean?
That means, hey, it's going to cost you this much, and we're not going to pay you.
Yeah.
And BYU, I'm sure, wants language that says, hey, if you're terrible and we fire you, I'm sure that's what it is. And I'm sure it's, hey, if another school hires you, we want them to have to pay $80 gazillion. I'm sure that's what it always is.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Greg Hawkins says Oregon has won more college football playoff games than the entire Big 12. Truth.
Yeah.
Giggity says Oregon is known for those hideous uniform combinations.
But are they hideous or do kids like them?
Kids love them.
And that's my thing. I'm not saying you're wrong about the fact that some of those uniforms they run out are terrible, but what matters to Oregon is, and what matters to a potential head coaching candidate would be, hey, can I use the uniforms to recruit? Can I, like recruiting is simply, hey, what do I have in my tool bag to bring value to get kids here? That's what it is.
Yeah.
And the uniforms are part of that.
Greg Hawkins says USC is a blue blood with 17 national championships over generations in a prime location with prime talent. All it takes is one good hire to change everything. Lincoln Riley could be that guy. Yeah.
I think he is that guy.
That's exactly
I
right.
think he is that guy.
By the way, who's the best coach of any sport in the state of Utah? I think Kyle Whittingham's probably got to be that guy.
Yeah, I think it's probably Witt. I think if Quinn Snyder wins a NBA title, I think you got to put him in there. All
this
time,
state is so thirsty.
Like all time, Jerry's got to be there, But right now it's Witt.
If Kyle Whittingham wins the Rose Bowl,
yeah, it's just such a. I don't think it's if. I think it's when. I think they're going to win that game. I think it's going to be a fitting end of their season.
Dude,
like
Ohio State is very good.
Yeah, but what do we say? Oregon's really good, and they freaking embarrassed Oregon not once but twice.
Well, Utah brings a physical edge that most teams do not.
Yeah, and I think that Ohio State is a damn good football team. But I also think that Kyle Whittingham and the Utah Utes have been an underdog the entire season.
Yeah, that's
They're
right.
happy to continue to be an underdog, and I just think that when there's something about having the ability to have nothing to lose when you're playing football, to be able to say, yeah, 2 of our teammates died, and we're just out here playing football, and we're going to do everything that we can do to win the game. That's why they're winning football games. They just simply want it more, and I don't have Ohio State. Frankly, has shown the ability to lose games that people think that they should win, and that's why I think Utah is going to do well. I do.
Yeah, don't disagree with that. Of course, Tanner Plummer comes in and drops a ridiculous comment. Best coach in Utah right now, Real Salt Lake coach Pablo Mastriani.
Okay, so that's how it's going to be.
Why? Why?
Tanner. I'm going to have to put him in a 6 months.
So you better check yourself.
No, I'm kidding. By the way, he said LOL, Jake. Check yourself, Tanner. I think there's no doubt right now that it's Kyle Whittingham. What he's done this year.
I think that second Oregon win solidifies that it's Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah, I think if he beats Ohio State in the Rose Bowl.
If you beat Oregon when you beat Oregon the first time, if you'd have lost the second Oregon game in the Pac-12 championship game, we'd be having a different
Yeah,
conversation.
it would all of that would have gone up in smoke.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now that you've won the Pac-12, going to the Rose Bowl, I don't know, dude. There's just something about this team, and I'm not trying to be cliche, corny sports guy, but there's just something about this team where they're able to bring it.
Corny sports guy.
Yeah, I mean, everyone always says, "Oh, well, this team has something special."
We're
and
special.
We're
The Chicago Bulls after they win every night.
Yeah,
too.
like, come
this
on.
is a special team.
This is a special team. Caruso's headband really does put him over the top.
Oh, please. Shut up. Anyway, I think it's Kyle Whittingham. We'll talk a lot more about the Rose Bowl as we approach that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Monty Show, MONTY, The Monty Show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find Jake, SLC, Supercars. I'm sorry, what are you doing?
I
over there?
can't check my phone.
No, man. How's that not girlfriend doing?
Doing great, bro. Doing great, man.
Virtual Bijan. I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, everything's great. You know.
Did you guys talk last night?
Yes. Not on the phone.
No, you guys don't talk on the phone.
Who does that? Idiot.
I stayed up an extra hour to make sure I got to talk to my wife,
I'm for real.
to hear her voice and stuff. Like
Yeah.
show each
Did
other.
that get you a little excited?
Yeah, I mean, strengthen the forearms after it was over. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Hey,